Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. Geo year, it's a brand new year. 2015 is finally here. And today we're going to be talking with Adamo and Matt from AC Milan Bros. We're going to be talking about what the new year pretty much holds for Milan in terms of results, competitions, which they will be playing in, players coming out, and much more. So we're going to pretty much have a general discussion about all this matter. First of all, Adamo, I'm going to start with you. It's a brand new year, as I said. What do you think will be done for Milan this year? Will it be their year where they will be finally back in the Champions League or European contention in any sort?
Well, a lot of players have been saying that Milan do have the quality to make third place, and I believe they can make third place. The spot is pretty much wide open right now. Genoa, Sampdoria, Napoli, they're all fighting for that spot, and I think Milan can squeak in at any point in the league. So if they can really get the right results, they can make it, but it's going to be very, very tough. So I think they'll at least make Europe this year, which is a positive, but Champions League will be a challenge, and I think they'll be up for it, but it'll be tough.
Now, Matt, staying on that note, of course, Adamo mentioned it's going to be tough. It's probably going to be a fight until the end, guaranteed for the third and final Champions League spot. What do you think about any reinforcements this January? Of course, we already saw Cerci making his way to Milan, but do you think there's going to be any other reinforcements in any specific department in this side, which, of course, could increase your chances of making that Champions League spot?
I do actually. I think maybe I was going to assume that Suso would arrive, but of course with Churchy already in for the at least the 18 months, or at least that's how long we think he is going to stay, and at least of course until or if Atletico get an offer they find intriguing from a team this summer. But I think Suso is more of a logical fit to join in perhaps June. But for January, I believe they could at least attempt to go after a fullback. They are lacking in both areas, both left back and right back, because of course, Abate and De Sciglio underperforming or being injured. So I think that's one area they can definitely focus on to add, at least maybe whether it be a swap deal or whether they outright buy someone or get someone on loan. Of course, I do still think we all think they need a formidable striker to go up top. We love what Menez has been doing for us. He leads our team in goals, of course. But in order to sustain this for the entire year, and if of course Menez does go on a bit of a cold streak, which we did see for a brief stint until we, of course, the Udinese game ran out of time of the year, we need someone to kind of pick up the slack. And of course, Pazzini hasn't been getting the minutes. We don't see anybody else on the team currently that can fill that striker role now that Torres is gone. So I think if the Niang for Muriel swap is something that they're looking at, I think that's worth considering. Considering the fact that Muriel is, despite his weight issues over the past few years, he's still only 23. He has a lot of talent, and of course, when Milan tends to take the risks on those buy low, sell high type of guys like Muriel. When they come to Milan, they fully embrace what we have here, and they fully take on this role at Milan because, of course, he only played for Udinese. I believe it's Deportivo. He hasn't really had a big move, and he's only 23. So Muriel could definitely be an option for Milan. Of course, you have to see if what happens in the next coming weeks with them. There's a lot of talk with the link between Olympiacos and Newcastle's having interest in Niang. But I think Muriel could be a possible option, along with, of course, Destro, which seems more so a summer move, if considering that we might have to sell in order to buy. It might be too many moving parts for a January move. But he's more of a long shot. I could see Muriel being an option for us. Of course, Galliani has been known to pull some last-minute tricks up his sleeve and do something late, so he might do something like that in January for maybe a name we haven't heard of.
Yeah, well said. You mentioned some great names. We've also mentioned the past transfer rumors videos, of course. Pretty much, guys, what we need in this January transfer window, for sure, is a replacement for Torres. Pazzini just won't do it, of course. He's going to come off the bench, being a great substitute, which could obviously provide that depth, maybe the last minutes and so forth. But really, we need someone consistent. Of course, there's also the option of keeping Menez there as a starter for the false nine role. But for striker, we're probably going to need a replacement nonetheless for Torres. Now, Adamo, I have a question for you, though. What if Milan remains as it is? Of course, the famous Galliani words, we're fine as we are. But what if we actually do remain like this? Of course, Abate, De Sciglio, I mean, all coming back from injuries. Now we got Maxess being injured for a few weeks, of course. But what if we do remain like this with all these people coming back as well? Do you think we can still challenge for the third spot in the Champions League or not?
Well, we can definitely challenge, but the issue is we'll see more like a mid-table team in the sense that there's mid-table teams like, for example, Sampdoria, who have been fantastic with their starting lineup, but if they get injuries along the line, they'll start to fall down the table as they don't have the depth to back it up. So I think we're going to need to really reinforce the team. Hopefully, Galliani doesn't insist on his little tricks that he says that, oh, it's like a new signing, getting a player back from injury. But yeah, I think if we really want to push for that spot, and if that's their legitimate goal, not just if it happens, it's good. They really do need to reinforce the team with some depth. But again, if they don't, it's possible. But again, we'll see more like a mid-table team.
Yeah, well said. And of course, we saw what happened last year. We couldn't really push for that third place since there were a lot of teams doing quite well, and in the end, we didn't get it. But I have another question for you guys now. Of course, many people actually don't talk about it, but I still look at it as a major trophy, of course, at least in the national level. And I'm talking about the Copa Italia. Of course, it's still a competition, guys, which every team performs in. And, of course, it's still a trophy altogether. And, of course, it automatically, I think, gives you a bypass to the Europa League if you win it. So what do you think about the competition, guys? Will Milan make a serious attempt in this year's edition of it or not?
Well, I mean, the thing that I look at with the Coppa Italia for Milan, that it favors them, is their main competitors have been playing quite a bit of games, which have kind of spanned into Europa and Champions League. Of course, Juve and Roma, despite Roma being out, they're now in the Europa League. Juve is still going in the Champions League into the round of 16. So those teams are playing a lot more games, and like similar to like what we see in England. Those lower end teams tend to be able to shock a team like United or City because of that simple reason that they're playing multiple games, sometimes 3 games a week. So I think it does favor Milan in the sense that they're only strictly focusing on that league game and then maybe that midweek game, whereas a team like Juve that has to, we have to field a good team for the Coppa Italia. Then we got a game against Dortmund that's coming up the round of 16, and then we got a big fixture this weekend to kind of keep pace or at least stay above Roma in the Serie A. So I think it does favor Milan in the sense that they should be well rested for the tournament. But of course, like we just previously touched on, if they stand pat and don't really address some of their glaring needs that we observed, they might not go far. But of course, it is worth noting that they have a favorable matchup for Sassuolo. They have some wiggle room here that they could make a deep run and potentially shock a team because we saw them compete with Roma. We saw them beat Napoli. And earlier on in the year, we lost a 1-0 game to Juve. So, I mean, there's definitely a chance that Milan can go deep in this tournament, but it remains to be seen if we can maintain this current run of form that we've been on.
Sure thing. And, of course, Adamo, what do you make of it? I mean, is it something you regard with high interest? Do you think, like, it's worth it, of course, to win it or go far in it? What do you think?
I think it's definitely worth it because all in all, it is a trophy, and it's not just like a junky little trophy, like something little that nobody really cares about. There's teams that actually strive for this, and top teams that want to win this trophy. So it is a major trophy, if you ask me, and I think if Milan won it, it would be a very good trophy to have in the season and something to be really proud of. And also, it's also a backup plan for the making Europe. You know, let's say we fall too low down the table or something's just not going right, and Inzaghi feels, there's a low chance that we might not make it. So maybe we should push in the Coppa Italia, and we can make that, and then therefore you go to the Europa League next season, and then you're in Europe. So I think we should push for it. Like I said, it is a very good backup plan if we feel that we're not going to make Europe this season.
Yeah, exactly. And personally, I feel like last year this was exactly the situation with Milan not making it to the Europa League. Had they had gone far in it, had they had good results in it, of course, it would have been a different story maybe. So definitely it's a cup which we should all regard because, yet again, it is a national trophy. So we should definitely look into that. Now, guys, put all the transfers aside, all the transfer crap away. What is your realistic opinion on Milan's final position in this season, of course?
Well, of course, we can look at it from an optimistic standpoint, which I think most Milan fans should be. and that is we definitely can finish third, given the fact that we've competed with Roma, we beat Napoli, which are the teams that are kind of in that second, third place. Sampdoria, again, a lot of that was another team that we're looking at. Lazio we beat very early on in the year. So optimistically, I think we could, with the arrival of Churchy and hopefully another striker, we can definitely shore up a lot of the issues we had up front. Don't forget, Milan, other than Menez and occasionally Honda, they haven't really gotten anything in terms of goals up front, with the exception of Bonaventure, who occasionally would be like a left winger or something like that. So I mean, if all goes according to plan, we address some of the needs, not huge areas. I'm not talking getting a Destro or the likes of a Jackson Martinez, someone like that. I'm talking just filling a need at midfield, someone that can man the fort, and then pick and choose and adding into certain areas we need. I definitely think they can finish in third, just for the simple fact that we know Juve and Roma are probably the top two teams, but that third place is right there, and I think it's going to honestly go down to the very end.
Adamo, your take on our position at the end of the season?
Yeah, 100% agree with Matt. Because exactly like he was saying, these top teams, as I said earlier, they have these obviously Roma, Juve, first and second place going to be down to them, and then Napoli, all the other teams I listed earlier. The door's wide open pretty much for third place. So it's all up to whoever finds the right form at the certain part of the season that currently squeak into that spot and steal it from whoever's in it currently. So I do think optimistically Milan can make that position. A more realistic standpoint, if you look at our squad, the depth, areas that we need to fill, and if we don't fill any of these areas, I think fourth place is more reasonable, but I think Milan can make third. If they do really strive for it and they believe for it and people really gives the team the confidence, they can do it.
Perfect. One last question for you guys now. Just a simple answer, yes or no. Third place finish doesn't happen. Is it a failure year or not? Matt?
If it doesn't happen, I would say no. I think I don't want to keep it long here, but I think the main reason, or at least the main goal for Milan, is to get back into a major tournament under the first-year manager of Inzaghi. They can do that. I think they can grow from here. They'll get a little bit more money to spend in the summer, and then make the moves they need to be more of an elite Serie A team, and then perhaps go deep into a Champions League next year.
Adamo?
Let's just say I completely agree.
Well, that's a great answer there. Very in-depth, I must say. Now, guys, that is it, guys, for the video. Of course, leave your suggestions, leave your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think Milan will be doing this year. Is it their revival year? Do you think we'll finally be back? Maybe not as the greats that we were, but we'll definitely be there. Not among the elite, but back in the European competitions where it matters. Leave your comments, of course. Let us know who you guys think Milan should sign, will sign this January. If you guys think anyone should come. So, of course, don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV for match previews, reviews, and everything to do with AC Milan to stay on top of them, of course. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Gio and Adamo Ritaco. You can follow him on Twitter, don't forget, as well as Matt from the AC Milan Bros on Twitter. Don't forget to follow them as well. Thanks, guys, for watching. This has been us from Rossoneri TV. And as usual, Forza Milan!